Hey, it's Wellness Wednesdays. It's Wellness Wednesdays. Hey, y'all. It's Cherette with Just Be Healthy Now. And it's Wellness Wednesdays. I get so excited. I brought y'all up into my office space. Hello. I have all of the mood set. I was like, let me set the mood. It was like, oh, they can't see it. But I got candles for y'all. My grandma over here sitting down. Oh, y'all can't see her. Ain't she pretty? I love my grandma. Anyway, today I want to talk about sex. So everybody get your notebooks. No, I'm just joking. But I want to talk about sex. I have been dealing with sex a lot lately, and me just thinking back on my experience, I'm like, why don't we talk about sex? Like, what? It's like, it's literally how we all get here. It's like one of the most sacred things that happens in our life. And everybody's just like, shh, 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 just talk about the birds and the bees, maybe the birds, maybe the bees, but no sex, no sex, no sex. Like, it's crazy. So I wanted to talk about it. I have an experience I'm going through where I am not having sex for the first time in my whole entire life. So it's been interesting because I started having sex. Well, I would say way too young because I think it is way too young, but I'm in the space in my life where now I'm just like, I wouldn't take back anything from my journey. Like, maybe it didn't all happen like how I thought it should, but I'm fucking awesome. And I wouldn't be who I was without all these beautiful experiences. Even the ones that weren't like the most beautiful, they still shaped me to who I am. So I'm just at the place where I'm like, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely was having sex way too young. So I can say that for sure. I started having sex around 14. And so the way it happened for me is that my parents got divorced and I was just mad. So I was like, so, you're going to take my daddy away and I'm just going to go have sex. And I'll tell all of you, like me having sex affected anybody else but me. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my punishment to the world. I'm just going to fuck. So it was weird, the space that I was in when it started to happen. But I don't really remember having anyone to go to talk about it. And even in my life, I'm 31 years old. Even in my life now, when I talk to other women and other men about sex, it's like a thing that we just don't talk about. So because I didn't talk about it, it was like I just had to figure it out, And when I did, I figured it out with older men. When I was 14, I was with men in their 20s. So I say it like this, but it wasn't like this. I don't know. It wasn't this crazy situation that I mean, it was definitely, what it was, but like I said, I still wouldn't take it back. Like, I see how it shaped me into having this openness with sex. So now I'm like, I don't care. I talk about it. It's what it is. I like walk around naked all the time. And that first relationship that I had, it really opened me to the possibilities of sex. And I feel like it was with someone who was a lot more experienced, of course, but because of it, I never got this idea of being ashamed about myself or my body or wanting to try things. Like I was never ashamed about it. I was just curious and I tried it. It never felt like it was a bad thing. And so it's such an interesting relationship though, because I was doing all of these things and filtering through all these things, and I never talked about it with anyone. I think the first time I really remember talking about sex was, I'm like, do I remember? Probably in 10th grade with Mama Road. That was the first time. And so I had to filter through all of these things, never being able to express what was going on. And I feel like in my life, it was like a snowball effect, right? Like I just kept having sex, and I never have stepped back and been like, what is this to me? What does it mean to me other than, like feeling good in the moment? Like I've never stepped back and thought about what sex really means to me, what I believe about it. I've just been having sex. So lately I have been looking at that, and I've been coming to this I have never talked about. So excuse me. Yeah, so I never have pleased myself before. Well, like I like played with it and then been like, okay, I want somebody else. So can you guys tell how smitten I'm getting? But I really do believe we have to talk about things more. So I'm taking a vulnerable moment here to tell you about my self-pleasure because I believe we should talk about sex more. So I'm going to drink. I'm being so silly, like a little kid who's like shy to tell you about the first girl they kissed or boy. Because I said kid. I'm drinking molasses, y'all. My friend went on a detox, and she is a holistic doctor gave her this drink to drink every day. And it's hot water. I did like 32 ounces of hot water, 4 or 5 teaspoons of key limes is what I did. You can do regular limes. And then 2 tablespoons, guys, not teaspoons. So 4 to 5 tablespoons of key lime and then 2 tablespoons of molasses. So this is, and it's unsulfured molasses, I believe. This is my first time drinking it, but it has me feeling amazing. It's like packed full of vitamins, apparently, and the key lime helps to break down the tartness of the molasses. So that's what I'm drinking. So anyway, not to segue too long because I'm being shy about talking about pleasing myself. Okay. So my relationship with sex has definitely been, I was with an older man when I was younger, okay? So I would see things in my experience, and I remember watching him watch me while we were having sex. And I remember what it felt like for me to express my pleasure. And I can't say that I was expressing my pleasure because I wanted to or because I saw how it changed him. I remember when I would moan or like say things, like it would just make him, like his energy was shifted. It would make him like want me so much. And I like that feeling. I love to see him want me. And so I became a person who was very loud and expressive in sex, but I don't really, I'm like coming to this place where I'm like, was it me who wanted to express myself like this? Or was I doing it because of who I was with and liking how they express themselves when I express myself? So lately here, I have been like, I need to please myself because I've always had sex available to me. So I'm 31 years old, guys. And the reason why I was 14 and able to get a hold to an early 20-year-old was because of the internet. I grew up with the internet. So this is something that I think we should talk more about in generations. Our generations who have the internet have access to sex more. Not to mention that it's on billboards or on TVs or whatever, but I can take this thing right here and literally tell somebody, I want sex by 10 p.m. tonight. And they will literally show up to my house and we will have sex. It's not like this whole thing of like, oh, let me court you or get to know you. It is a world that is fast paced. Like I can get it right now. And not to say that all children are out here doing this, because they're not, but I was, okay? I was mad. My parents were divorced. My dad was the one who made me feel safe and secure. He made me feel like I mattered in the world. My voice mattered, how I felt mattered. He was that for me. And when my parents got divorced, I didn't see him anymore. You know, whatever happened with my parents, I haven't even asked them about that. But my dad wasn't around. My family, my dad's family, my dad, I never saw them anymore. And I was pissed the fuck off because no one ever talked to me. They just like, he left, all my cousins left, no one was in my life, and I was just supposed to live like it was normal, you know? So all of these feelings and emotions I'm filtering through, and in this space with this guy who's older, and in this crazy way, he really took care of me. Like he was very friendly to me. I remember him paying so much attention to me and like making sure that I was always okay. Like I was always asked multiple times about things being okay. And it was like this, it wasn't like this creepy situation that most people think, you know, it was very, I don't know what words to put on it. It's weird to talk about for me because in this day and age, I don't agree with it. Like I would not let my 14-year-old daughter be with a man who's in his 20s. I do think that that's inappropriate. But the experience that I had at the time, it didn't feel inappropriate. It felt like I was being befriended by a person because he and I were friends for a long time, before sex even came into play. And I went to him. So it was inappropriate, but it was also, I don't know, again, weird to talk about. But that was my space to fill this void that I had in my life. And I didn't know what to do with the void because I couldn't talk to anybody about it, because I went to my dad to talk about things. Like my sister was going through stuff, and those were my people. Like those were my people, you know, and there was a lot of stuff going on at one time, and I just didn't have anywhere to go. So I started talking to older men because there was stuff that, I just didn't want guys my age. It didn't seem as whatever I was looking for at the time. So anyway, on-demand penis has been around for me since I was 14. It's been a mechanism that I have used to meet people in my life, up until now. Like now, me redefining sex is me really redefining relationships. What is it like for me to have an organic relationship with somebody, to meet them out somewhere in a place and get their number and have a relationship? And this is with friends too, like female friends, male friends. Like, how is it that I can go out and have an organic relationship with somebody without finding them on this thing? So that is a real thing that I'm coming into in my life at 31. Not to say that I haven't had these relationships, but I haven't been consciously participating in organic experiences, instead of copping out and getting online. So with me being able to have on-demand sex with whoever or whatever, I've never had to take a break. Anytime I wanted to feel pleasure, I've always been able to call someone. And honestly, when I started thinking about the idea of me pleasing myself, it was fucking weird. I was like, why would I touch myself? You know, like I felt like it was more wrong for me to touch myself than to have a stranger inside of me. Like, now that I say that out loud, that seems crazy, like batshit crazy. But literally, that was my train of thought. I remember previously trying to experience pleasuring myself, and I would get bored, or I would be like, I want the real thing, as if me pleasing myself isn't the real thing. Like my pleasure isn't real pleasure. And so it was just creepy for me, honestly. I'm like, I don't want to touch myself. Like, why would I want to lick myself? That's weird. Right. So that's just how I felt about it. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't said this out loud before, but it's real. Like, anyway, so starting to redefine sex. Redefining sex is redefining relationships, is redefining what pleasure means for myself. It's redefining self-pleasure. And I'm doing all that by taking away my comfort blanket. Excuse me. And sex is my comfort blanket, like with other people, because I'm fabulous at it. That's easy. I've been bred to have sex since I was 14. Like, I've been bred to be having sex. Like, honestly, at one point that I was having sex, I was detaching from it emotionally. So I wasn't even having emotional experiences. It was just physical. I didn't understand the spirituality of it. It was literally just physical, and I was able to detach from it and not have a problem. Like, some people are like, yo, if we have sex, then I get all these feelings, whatever. And I'm like, what? No, like, if we have sex and I want you to just get up and go, like, that was my life for a long time. So now I'm coming into a spiritual awakening, right? And I am asking spirit to be able to be myself and be able to flow in the totality of who I am. And I had to work on a lot of things. And I think right now in my life, I just ended a 5-year relationship. And so sex has come up because sometimes I'm like, is that too personal? I know it seems like I probably just be sharing all this stuff about me, but it's really new. But inside of that relationship, my 5-year relationship, was the first time my body told me no. It was the first time that my feelings got hurt and I just wasn't able to have sex anymore. My feelings were so hurt. I never thought I could feel that way in a relationship with someone I love so much. Even today, I love him so much. My love for him has never changed, but my feelings did, because I was able to see clearly, and I had professed my forever to him, and myself. Like, I just knew that in this relationship, this was it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm gonna have his babies, okay, y'all. Like, I was like, that's my baby daddy. Like, we in there. And when I got to the point where I saw that that could not be, it ripped me to shreds, because my love for him is so strong. But I had to give it up. I had to give it up. In order to love myself, I had to leave. And my body rejected sex. It was like, I can't. I just would ball up and not be able to do it. And it wasn't even just in my relationship previous to this. I've professed myself as a monogamous cheater. Come to find out, I'm poly. That's another video, whatever. But I told all of my ex-boyfriends, like, I'm monogamous, but I be out here cheating. So but everyone who I was with was like, I respect you for being honest. And so that was my forte. Like, if things in my relationship weren't going okay, then I would just cheat. And that was always my way out. But in this relationship, my love for him wouldn't allow me to even step outside of us in this tumultuous state. Like, it was so muddy. It was like my body wouldn't even let me go outside of what was going on in this moment to even go have sex with anyone else. And it shocked me because I was like, okay, I can't even go and have sex with anyone else. Like, what's going on? And I've really, from that space, been able to cultivate this belief of sex and spirituality. Before this, I had heard of the concept, but I never experienced it, and I didn't know how to cultivate it within myself. So in the end of this 5-year relationship, I started cultivating this idea of being spiritual in my sexuality. But I wasn't able to express that with my partner because we were going through all these things. So once I let that go, like, immediately I had asked Spirit, and I had forgotten about this. I told Spirit, I was like, I'm done with having these physical encounters with people. I only want to have sexual experiences that will uplift me spiritually. And I said that on my mat one day. And so when we got out of this 5-year relationship, y'all, I am not gonna lie. I got out of the relationship and my yoni was like, excuse me, excuse me, can you pay me some attention? And I was like, yes, I am. Finally. So I'm trying to hit up people and it's not working out. Like, Spirit was like, what you're not going to do is just be going over here to these physical encounters because I'm conspiring to meet your desires. So I had a friend who I've been friends with for a while, and we started being intimate. And it was the first time that I've been able to ever experience my sexuality and my spirituality literally combining as one. So I'm like, for the first time, this is it. This is a higher form of myself in the capacity of pleasure. And I'll never go back. Okay, first of all. But this is the talk. This is the talk. It's not the birds and the bees or the whatever, like, wait, be abstinence and let's tell you what to do. The talk is the spirituality aspect of sexuality. When we understand how spiritual sex is, intimacy is, then we hold it for worth. We are able to hold it, and not in this like controlling type of way, like, oh, hold it until this. No one can tell you when to hold this gift and to let it go. Like, no one can tell you when to release your yoni and experience this spiritual experience. But if we understand that intimacy, because I don't even want to say sex, like, it's intimacy is a spiritual experience. It is a moment to take energies and raise both vibrations. It's a beautiful spiritual journey. It's divine. It's so divine. And so when I was able to take my encounters with a man, to take this intimacy with a man and like transcend that to a spiritual experience, I was able to grasp onto that. And I was like, I think I want that for myself. And so I'm going a long time without having intimacy with a man. So in this time, I am wrapping my head. I am not partaking in intimacy with men or women. And I am not being naked, which, if y'all know me, anything about me, if y'all know anything about me, I love to be naked, because nakedness, a naked body, has nothing to do with sex. It's a freaking naked body. My titties are not offensive. My breasts are actually dope. They're there to actually feed babies. And penises are literally just penises. Sometimes they get erect and it doesn't even mean anything. So we take the naked body and we make it something that is so, like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see a woman naked. Like, what? Have y'all seen yourselves in the mirror? Like, that's a miracle to even be able to sit here and look as beautiful as you do. A naked man? Yummy. Hello. Like, it's God's gift to us. Like, our naked bodies are so beautiful. I think they're a work of art. I love them. I'm also a neuromuscular therapist, so my job literally was with naked people. So it's just like normal in my life. I love being naked. So I'm only sharing these aspects of intimacy with women. That in itself has been amazing. Amazing. I feel a lot more open, more vulnerable in my intimacy. Sharing the sisterhood of, hey, like, only women are seeing my naked body. Only women are seeing my crown. And it's really because I've had a problem with sisterhood. Another video for another day. But it's allowing me to hone in on being intimate with my sisters. And that feels amazing. I didn't think that I would like it as much, but it's been so heartwarming. So, a part of it has been that during this time that I'm not being intimate with men, I wanted to be intimate with myself. So that brings me to the part where we talk about my self-pleasure more. I made it really long, so I only had 3 minutes to talk about my self-pleasure, if you didn't notice. It's making me so giddy on the inside, guys. So I touched myself for the first time, I think it was last night. I be flowing with Wellness Wednesdays topics. If y'all can't see that already, sometimes stuff just comes to me like day before, day of, and I'm like, I know what we talking about. So last night I pleased myself for the first time. I'm 31. My name is Cherette, and I have not pleased myself until last night. So it's crazy that I even say that, but it's real. So I usually get bored. I usually don't finish, and last night was amazing. I am, not to get too graphic, but I'm a squirter. So, like, as long as I like a man, I'm comfortable with him. I have to be like comfortable. It can't be like a rando. But pretty much if everything's going right, like, it just happens pretty much every time I have sex. Like, I'm used to it. But when I like touch myself, I never get like this climaxy feeling. Like I said, I really just get annoyed. I'm just like, okay, next. You know what I'm saying? So last night I was feeling the feels and I turned on a playlist. I turned on a playlist and I touched myself. I like lit myself candles and I squirted. It was amazing. I feel like God met me in that moment though. Like, it was amazing. I was able to bring this orgasmic feeling to myself. And I felt the change in my body. I felt the change in like how I released and how I let go. And to do that for myself was the epitome of pleasure. So I say that I'm not staying on my experience too long because I'm getting giddy, y'all. But I say that to say that what happened with me last night with myself has forever changed my view of sex. And the reason why I had this pivotal moment was because I was able to talk to someone about how spiritual sex is. Climax moment, literally and figuratively, pun intended. We need to talk about sex. And so I say all that to say we need to talk about sex. And so if you have teenagers around you, especially, please talk to them about sex and don't tell them what to do. You can't tell people what to do with their bodies. It's their vaginas and it's their penises. So listen to them about how they feel and challenge them to think of sex as a higher spiritual experience, because it is. Once we are allowed to connect with ourselves and bring ourselves pleasure and take that outside of ourselves and match that energy with someone else, it is literally divine. That is divine. Divine. So when we have this experience and we think of it like this, it's important to, one, experience it for ourselves, but also to pass it down. We have to talk to the youth about sex. We have to talk to us about sex. I, as a 31-year-old, have to talk to my elders about sex, my sisters about sex, my nieces, my nephews. Like, we have to talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. That's my Wellness Wednesdays for today. Hey, guys. I hope you enjoyed my sex talk. And hopefully we'll talk about sex some more and go home and talk about sex to somebody today, okay? Thank you for joining me. I love you guys so much. My name is Cherette. Just Be Healthy Now on Facebook and Instagram. Sign up for my email list because I'm about to have a live event and it's going to be dope. I'm going to tell y'all about my 40 weeks and counting is what I'm calling it. See you guys again next week, same time, same place on Wellness Wednesdays.